For the last two examples, for this learning target, we have radicals on both sides, like the previous two examples, and now we have both coefficients and constants along with each variable. So these are still pick on the little guy problems, just like before. We still need to square both sides as a first step, just like before. Again, squaring both sides gets rid of the radical. There's just a little bit more to worry about. So squaring both sides gets rid of the radical. We still have variables now on both sides like the first two examples. We've got a 5y and a negative 2y. Well, negative 2 is smaller than 5. That's our little guy. So we're going to add 2y to both sides to get all of our variables on the left. And if I'm moving all my variables to the left, I also want to move all my constants to the right. So the opposite of minus 12 is plus 12. Adding 12 to both sides will move all of my constants to the right. 5y plus 2y, well that's 7y. 16 plus 12, that gives me a 28. Last but not least, I don't want 7y, I just want 1y over here on the left. So dividing both sides by 7 will tell me that y is 4. So like before, we do want to double check that that 4 is actually correct. I'm making the claim that y is 4 here. Let's see if that's true. If y is 4, then if I take that 4, multiply it by 5 and subtract 12, that needs to be equal to the right side. 16 minus 2 times 4. So let's check it. We've got 5 times 4, that's 20. 20 minus 12 is 8. And on the right-hand side, 2 times 4, that's 8. So 16 minus 8 is 8. Oh look, square root of 8 equals square root of 8. Absolutely. So that 4 checks out. That solution does work. Jumping over to example 4. This one is no more difficult, just another example to have in your notes to look over. We still want to square both sides. That should feel very much like deja vu at this point. Squaring both sides gets rid of a radical. That leaves us with another pick on the little guy problem. 26 minus 3x equals 5x minus 30. We have variables on both sides of the equation. We also have constants on both sides of the equation. And like before, there is even a negative coefficient. Well, negative 3, definitely smaller than positive 5. So to move that negative 3, we're going to add 3x to both sides. Since we're moving all of our variables to the right this time, we're going to move our constants to the left. So to get rid of that minus 30, we can add 30. And now we're in arithmetic land. 26 plus 30, that's a 56. 5 plus 3, that's an 8. Sorry, this should not have an x. Apologies there. And last but not least, to get rid of that 8, this is an 8 times x. The inverse operation then is division. So we can divide by 8. (56) divided by 8, that's a 7. Double checking our work here. If x is 7, then I should be able to substitute that back in and get a true statement. So let's go ahead and do that. We have a 26 minus 3x. And on the right-hand side, we have a 5 times x minus 30. So 3 times 7, that's a 21. 26 minus 21, that's a 25. Not a 25, sorry, just a 5. On the right-hand side, 5 times 7, that's 35. 35 minus 30 is also just 5. For sure, the square root of 5 is equal to the square root of 5. So this solution works as well. So at this point, we have 4 different examples of equations with radicals on both sides. Squaring both sides allowed us to just do a little bit of algebra 1. And at the end, checking our work. So far, checking the work hasn't really done anything crazy. We haven't noticed anything, not work out. In the next couple examples, we're going to start talking about what are called extraneous solutions. In other words, we're going to go through a series of algebra 1 steps, slightly more difficult ones, and you might end up with a solution that doesn't work through no fault of your own. We'll talk about how to deal with that when we get there. For now, try some of these problems out on Math Excel. All of them will work out in a very similar fashion. Squaring both sides, you'll wind up with an equation, variables on both sides, pick on the little guys, so on and so forth. Give those Algebra 1 skills a test. Let me know if you need anything, and I'll see you next time.